motif that I would like to show you all. This is very intricate and has a different edge also. Looks like temple edge or leaf, whatever you feel, you can call it. And I have done this with anchor thread and needle again. In the center I've used 26 loops in this motif, and I've done another motif. This has 30 loops in center, but the beehives are very close, not clearly visible. So I thought this is more intricate. So I just wanted to do with 26 so that the beehives can be very clear. And here also semicircles. These are more clear than this. I'm going to share with you doing with 26 loops in center in my following videos. Now let's begin with the first row. There's the ring of 26 loops. I'm going to wrap the thread around my finger, keeping this thread a little lengthy because we have to make 26 loops. I've made a cross and then insert the needle in center and wrap the thread as usual in anti-clockwise and make a knot. Now this will be the first row. We'll leave a bit of space, insert the needle again and wrap the back portion of the thread anti-clockwise and pull it to form a knot. Also pull this thread so that the first loop is formed. Now I'm doing the second loop. This is the second loop. In this way we have to make 26 loops. And all the loops should be of equal size, neither too big nor small. Six loops are completed and another 20 loops to go to complete this ring. This is how we are going to do, and I'll be back with you when I'm at the end of this ring and I'll show you how to complete this ring so that we can proceed with the next row of chain. Now this is the 26th loop that I'm doing to close this ring. Also I'm running out of thread. Now we have to remove the needle from this ring, and this is how it looks. All the loops are formed, and now we are going to pull this thread. As you can see, now I have to pull this thread slowly to form the ring. Now this ring is completed, and to secure it more tightly we can place a knot at the center. And let's not waste this thread. We'll go with the next round and then add another thread and continue. Now we have to make only chain over this loops. Insert the needle. I am moving in anti-clockwise direction, and the back portion of the thread should be wrapped anti-clockwise and pulled, and move to the next. Insert the needle in the next loop and the front portion of the thread in clockwise direction, back portion of the thread in anti-clockwise, and pull it. Knot is formed. Insert again front portion of the thread in clockwise direction, back portion of the thread as usual in anti-clockwise, and pull it. This is how we are going to do this round. Also, I am going to show you how to add a new thread when we run out of thread. Now cut this thread, keep the thread at the back portion and insert where the knot is there. Place a knot here. It will hold in place tightly. Now we can cut these two threads. And place a knot again in the same place to secure it tightly. Now let's move to the next loop. And make a knot. Front portion of the thread in clockwise, back portion of the thread in the reverse direction. This is how we are going to continue this complete round. I made a mistake here by inserting in the same loop. I have removed it and I'm back again with the next loop. Now this is how we are going to continue working. I'll be back with you when I reach the end starting point and continue with the next round. In this video, I have shown you how to add a new thread and to close the first ring. Now I am at the end of this first chain round. Another loop to be done, and then we'll move to the next row. And this is how it looks. Now this time we are going to form knots in this center of these small chains. And small beehives are formed. Now as you can see, small beehives are being formed. This will be the second round. And over this we are going to work with another 4 rounds. In the center of this chain we have to insert the needle. The front portion of the thread will go clockwise and the back portion of the needle thread will be wrapped anti-clockwise once around the needle and pull. And as we proceed with the further rows, the pattern also looks good. This is how we are going to continue. I'll go show you one or two more. Now insert the needle in between these two loops in this chain, center of this chain, and this thread should be front portion of the thread, needle thread will go clockwise and the back portion in reverse direction, and the thread pulled to form a knot. And again let's move to the next chain in between these two loops. And this process is to be continued for another 3 or 4 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. 4 rounds, and then I'll get back to you when I'm doing this semicircle portion. I have completed this beehive round and then moving to the next semicircle round. We have to make lengthy chains in alternate chain. That is, I've already done 2. I'm going to show you now. Leave this chain and move to the next one. Insert the needle and wrap the thread and make a knot. And the chain is formed. The chain should be a little lengthy because in the next round we are going to work over it with 7 loops. Now leave this and move to the next. This is how we are going to complete this round. This is how it looks. When we work with the loops over it, you can see the pattern, this pattern. I'll get back to you when I'm at the end of it. Now I'm working at the end of this round, that is the last big loop to be done. And then we'll show you how to work with the next row over this chain. Now we are going to do 7 loops, smaller loops. So let us begin. Now insert the needle here, this thread on top, and place the first knot as it is, just to lock it. Now let's make small loops. And when pulling the thread, we have to pull it slowly, or else it will get knotted. Insert the needle, this thread always clockwise, the back thread anti-clockwise, and pull the thread slowly. So that the loop is formed here, smaller loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you can see the pattern. And now we have to move to the next lengthy chain and first lock it in the first place, or else we can continue as it is. It's better we lock it. Now we have to work with 7 loops again. Three, this is how we are going to continue this row. I'll get back to you again. I've completed this row, and now we have to work with one more semicircle round with 10 loops this time. Over this, in previous row we had worked with 7 loops. Over this we have to work with 10 loops, and the chain should be formed first. That should be in the center of this. We have to start from the center of this chain, previous chain. Now from the center of the 4th loop, let's insert the needle. I'm joining the thread also here now, a new thread to do this row. To secure it more tightly, I'm going to cut this thread first and place one more knot. Now this thread is secured tightly. Now let's move to the 4th loop of the next chain. And place a knot. Chain should be a little lengthy because we have to work with 10 loops over it in the next row. This is how we are going to do this row. This is how we have to complete this complete row. That is, place chains, lengthy chain over the previous row. I'll get back to you when I'm doing the next row. Now I'm going to show you how to do these loops. I've already started this round and I'm doing with 10 loops over the chain. Here another 3 more loops to go for this chain. Insert the needle, back portion of the thread, wrapped anti-clockwise. and pull it to form a small loop. Three, four, five, six, 7, 8. Another 2 more loops. 9. Ten loops are formed here, and now I'm not going to lock it here, just moving to the direct next chain and place a knot. And again I'm going to work with 10 loops. This is how we are going to continue this complete round. I'll get back to you when I'm doing this beehive rounds again. I'm at the end of this round. Another 4 more loops to go, and then we'll proceed with the next beehive round over this. Now this is the last loop, 10th loop. Now we shall proceed. This is how it looks after this round. These loops will be formed neatly and will be held in place after we work with the beehive round over this, that is the small beehive rounds. Now let's proceed to doing the next. Now as you can see, there's a small gap here because we had worked from this chain to the next chain in previous row. We had gone continuously from here to here. Now we have to move to the first loop of the next chain and make a small beehive. This beehive will be very small. Now we have to move. We have to leave the next loop. That's in alternate loops. We have to prick the needle and make beehives. that is skip one and go to the next loop and insert the needle and make a beehive. Now I am going to skip this and insert the needle. That is, as you can see, I am going to skip this beehive that is next to it and insert the needle in the very next beehive. Loop, I'm sorry, and pull it. Now skip this loop and insert in the next loop. Place a knot. Again skip this and insert in the next loop. Put a knot here in the usual way. Now this is how it looks. Now we are going to leave this gap and come to the next first loop of the next chain and place a knot again. Now skip the next one and move to the next. That is, skip this loop and move to the next loop. Insert the needle and place a knot in the usual way, like how we were doing before. Again you can see you have to skip this and insert the needle here. That is in alternate loops of the previous row. This is how we are going to continue, and I will be back with you when I reach the starting point again. I have completed the first round of beehive over these loops, and now I am going to work over this for another 3-4 rounds of beehive. Now we have to work in the center of these beehives. That is, place the knot in center of this chain. This will be the first chain. Now I'm going to work insert here in the next center portion of the next beehive. And place a knot, and this is how we are going to do. As we proceed further with the design, it looks more beautiful. This is how I'm going to do for another 3-4 rounds. And in the next round, now we are going to jump from here to here. That is, in the next round, when I go over, the loop will be, knots will be placed from this end to this end, so that it will become a little closer and form a ring shape. This is how we are going to work for 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. And after this, I am going to show you how to form this temple like pattern or leaf, whatever you feel, you can call it, either leaf or a temple. I'll get back to you when I'm doing the 4th round. I have completed the beehive rounds all over, and I'll show you how to do the final round. Over these beehives, that is the temple border. Insert the needle here, and as usual place a loop or a beehive. We have to do 2 beehives. The needle moves in anti-clockwise direction. That is, in center of the loop we have to insert the needle and wrap this thread, top thread, clockwise, and the back portion of the thread in anti-clockwise, and pull. Now we are going to work back again this way, that is in the opposite direction. Now insert the needle in this loop, and this thread should be on top of the needle, and the back portion of the thread wrapped anti-clockwise and the thread pulled. A small loop is formed here, or a beehive. Now insert the needle in the next beehive. This thread always on top when we are working in clockwise direction, and the top back portion of the thread wrapped anti-clockwise and pull. Now insert the needle in this again. Because we are moving in anti-clockwise, the needle moves anti-clockwise direction. This thread, top thread, will be wrapped clockwise. The back portion of the thread will be wrapped twice this time in anti-clockwise, and the thread pull slowly. Now we are going to move to the next loop. Wrap this thread as usual clockwise direction, back portion of the thread in anti-clockwise, and pull it slowly, leaving a bit of thread here. Place the knot tightly. This way we are going to work. Now I am moving to the next beehive. Placing a knot. Similarly, we have to move to the next beehive. Place another knot. Now I am going to come back to this. This thread will be on top of the needle this time, and the knot will be placed. And now move to the next beehive. this thread always on top when we are working in clockwise direction, and the back portion of the needle thread will be wrapped anti-clockwise and pulled. Now again we are going to insert in this beehive, and this thread will be wrapped clockwise and the back portion of the thread twice in anti-clockwise direction, and the thread will be pulled, and then move to the next beehive and place a knot, leaving this thread a bit loose. So that the pattern also will be formed clearly. This is how we are going to work. I'm going to show you one more. Now work over next 2 beehives. 1, 2. I'm going to come back this time. Back here, this thread will be on top and the knot will be placed. 1 and 2, and now I'm going to work again in this beehive, wrapping the thread twice around the needle, placing a knot, and then I'll come back to the next loop beehive, and place a knot. This is how I'm going to do this complete round. And I'll get back to you when I've completed this motif and show you how it looks completely. I hope it is very clear now and easy to understand also. This is how it looks. I'm almost completing this motif and I have to work another leaf here. 2 more leaves, and this I've already worked with 2 beehives. Now I'm working in clockwise direction. This thread should be on top again. Back thread wrapped anti-clockwise and pull to form a small beehive here, and we have to make one more here as I'm showing. Now let's move to the same beehive. This top thread will be wrapped clockwise and the back portion of the thread will be wrapped again twice and pull. And now let's move to the next beehive in the previous row. Place a knot, keeping this thread a little loose for the design to be formed, as you can see. And now in the usual pattern, we have to make 2 beehives here. 1 and 2. And I'll be working again over this, moving in the reverse direction. 1, 2, and we have to work on this. Wrapping the thread twice and pulling the thread, and we shall lock it in the beginning starting point. Now this is done, and we can place one more knot here to secure it tightly before we cut the thread and close this motif. I'm going to place one more knot and cut this thread. Now the motif is completed. I'll be back with more videos next. I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching.